Hello, worship leaders and planners. My name's Mike O'Brien, and I'm at a conference that got me thinking about this very thing in our worship, this idea of silence. And I've been leading worship for a long time, mostly in the modern church world, but more recently in the liturgical world, I've noticed some similarities, this one similarity between the two. And in modern worship, there's usually 4 or 5 or 6 or more songs back to back, and then we move on to announcements and sermon. In the liturgical world, there's a couple songs, a prayer, a creed, just some different structure and order. But there's one thing that is lacking in the two forms in any significant sense, and that's this idea of silence. And intentionally led silence by the worship leader and the band modeling it, the whole deal. So I wonder what it looks like if within our sets we intentionally plan 30 seconds or 60 seconds or more of pure silence. No pad, no keyboard in the background, pure silence. And we know that in our rooms there's babies crying, there's sniffling and coughing, there's all sorts of activity. But part of leading us into silence together is allowing space for even that, for the stuff of life and the sound of our buildings. So what does it look like to add some silence? So maybe after a couple high energy songs where we do biblical things like clap and shout and sing and bow down, what do it look like if we did a biblical thing? So in Proverbs it says this, Proverbs 10:19, when there are many words, transgression is unavoidable, but he who restrains his lips is wise. Now we know that as a personal devotion that we need to tidy up our communication and talking and be careful to not talk too much. But what does that mean in a corporate setting, that we stop the madness, we stop the volume and the sound for just a moment and give collectively the congregation a chance to breathe and to be present to God together? It can be really hard if you've never done it before, especially if you're a high energy, engaging church where you're trying to take people on a very energetic journey in a depressed world. I get all that. I understand that as a planner of modern worship, that we want to do that. But this could be one of the most radical things that you do. And it might be the only silence and solitude, the silence in sonic solitude that some people have all week long. And we get a chance to lead them in that. So it's basically, hey, congregation, so you just do the 2 songs. So now we're going to enter a time of intentional silence. And this might be hard for some of you, but I encourage you over the next 60 seconds or so, we're just going to let the dust settle sonically, and we're going to listen to God, knowing that He speaks oftentimes when we stop speaking. And we understand there's babies and noise in here, but let's just be silent for a minute and allow the Lord to speak. And then just wait together as a congregation. And then you can simply end by saying amen and moving on to the next song or the next prayer or the next idea. But just try that. It might be the most radical thing we could do in this saturated culture of noise, is to lead our congregations in a minute of silence. So give it a shot. Take care.